Oh my god, shut up.
I don't believe it. That's Clone Force 99. I'm in it with that. Gear up, fellas. We're going into the field. Oh, come on. It's been days since I've blown something up. You mess with the kid, you mess with me. Remember the rules.
Don't wander off, keep my eyes and ears on my surroundings, and trust no one but my squad.
If this is where you want to be, then this is where you'll stay.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bad Bitches. I'm so happy you all are joining me. It's Abigail Gardner with my friends Ryan Dole, Kat Hansen, and Jake Stevens from Forlom to Zuckus. We call you Forlom in our group chat, so I hope that's okay that we reference you that way. Welcome to the show, everyone. How y'all doing tonight? Jake, thanks for joining us.
Well, it's a pleasure. I'm so happy to be here, especially on this significant episode, I would say, as we round out season 1. We're doing great. I'm not far from Ryan, so I'm continuing to sweat through the end of this summer. But it's nothing new to you guys who live in warmer climates.
That's true. We are sweating down here. One of the rules of podcasting on YHS is no fans and no air conditioning because of the noise.
Spicy.
So, yeah, I hope you all enjoy the seasoning and the spice and this heat tonight. It is very hot outside. Ryan, how are you feeling in the heat?
Actually, it's been raining here all day. It's been quite lovely.
Oh, yeah.
I made some tea
Okay.
today because it was like cool enough that I could have some tea. And I pulled out my old Halloween flavors. I had like, kind of, I guess you could call it a John Yercabo moment where I was like, I'm just going to bring fall back a little early.
Yeah, he's always out for the pumpkin spice.
Lifetime movies and get a crocheted blanket out too, and
He's got like a crocheted cozy for his tea kettle.
From the tea
sure of
kettle,
that.
yeah. And
Ryan
I just
Dole
call
with the tea
somebody,
kettle.
they bring it up for me.
Famously called the front desk at the hotel we were staying at in Orlando for a tea kettle for me, and they were like, "We don't have that."
Aww.
But it was very nice of you, Ryan.
What 3-star hotel am I staying at?
Yeah, they're like, "You have coffee in the room, so that's all you get." All right, Kat, I haven't
like,
talked to
cool.
you yet. How are you, dude? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing grand, just pumped to be hanging out with a bunch of cool people as per usual.
Yeah. Awesome, man. I honestly, I'm so happy that we have this episode, that we've got you on, Jake. Obviously, people know you from your all the things you've done, your podcast, and YouTube, and all of your interviews with like really cool Mandalorian and actual Star Wars cast members. Definitely, and also people will know you from our Midnight Mando show, which you were on pretty much every episode, which was a ton of fun. So it's great to have you back.
yes,
Welcome,
I'm very
welcome.
excited.
Yeah, and it's cool to have
Coming
you
off
on.
a fun summer of interviews, like you said.
Yeah.
So we got I got a few snippets to share when we want to talk Mando again, because over the summer interviewed Katie Sackhoff, Emily Swallow, who else? Giancarlo, right?
Wow. Yeah.
And so there were some snippets there that we can get to eventually.
That's awesome.
Dope.
Yeah, we're not worthy. That's yes.
I
Very
like that
nice.
show, so that'd be cool.
Ryan, you like it? It's good stuff.
I like it.
I
Yeah.
can't wait for it to come back. I can't wait actually for the what's the name of the like behind the scenes thing that they're putting out, like the gallery for
Yeah.
season
Yeah.
2?
Next week, isn't it?
Is it?
Mhm.
Oh, I can't wait. Good. I
Sounds
need it.
Like the time for a Mando episode, right?
Yeah, we've been talking about it. Let's definitely
Midday
get the
Mando.
group. Yeah, it's gonna have to be a
Mid
little bit earlier for us. We're all getting a little older. so-
brunch, maybe.
Yeah, I do a brunch.
Yeah.
I'd wait like a long time to have a brunch with y'all and talk about
Brunch
that
with
gallery.
Boss, because that's what we're going to call it.
Yeah,
Brunch with
100%.
Bob. I love
Speaking
that.
of bots, I didn't think that I would cry over a bot like I did in the what we're going to talk about tonight, which is the last 3 episodes of the Bad Batch, episodes 14, 15, and 16, which I'm so excited to be able to kind of dig into with y'all. Not so much episode 14. I thought that one was fine. But those last two episodes, welcome to the show, Jake. We definitely talk a little tiny bit of shit just because we want to keep it real. Like when it comes to, yeah, it's like there's so many episodes in these animated series in the seasons. So sometimes there's filler and like sometimes there's stuff that doesn't seem quite as like getting you, like the way that these last two episodes really kind of harken back to the season open, etc. So I'm ready to dig into these. Are y'all ready?
Got my spoon. Let's get shoveling.
Cool. I got fork, spoon.
Your spoon.
Let's shovel. I got my shovel. All right, cool.
Like you're breaking out of prison. You know, you got your spoon.
That's awesome. I just want to say before we start the rules of Bad Bitches, because I was making the rules of all the YHS shows. Toy Anxiety has like a lot of rules. So does the YHS Prime. But Bad Bitches, no rules, just Pike. So, did anyone get no rules, just right? You know, no rules, just Pike. The aliens. Okay, no. Well, I tried on that one. I was watching the finale. I was like, I am going to slay. There might have been some other things going on at that moment. So that's my open. No, the fact is, what I like about this show and about y'all and like our energy and our vibe is that we're like, it's, you know, we don't have rules. Toy Anxiety has a lot of stuff going on, but here we are, like, just doing our thing and having our show, and I think
we're
that's
like a
fantastic.
bunch of dirty smugglers. We just
kind of like the Bad Batch,
right?
Yeah,
chaotic good,
defective, yeah, like 100%.
Defective, yeah, defective. That's accurate.
Yeah. Kind of grew up in a questionable, weird environment. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. But yet we band together and, you know, love each other and fight a little bit, but it's great. I'll do the rest of the rules on our other shows, probably Toy Anxiety tonight or tomorrow night, to let everyone know. But yeah, let's dive into episode 14, which was called War Mantle. That was the Gregor episode. To kind of like wrap it up, Gregor, who was the former dishwasher who had amnesia from Clone Wars, and I always thought
Sunny
he was.
Day in the Vault is a rough one. Have you made it to that episode yet?
Yeah. Oh,
in Clone Wars. You're good on Clone Wars, right?
Totally caught up on
you're
Clone
still
Wars.
Finishing Rebels.
Correct. Yes. For
Okay.
those of you who don't know, yes.
Yeah, he made his debut in that one, and that was a rough episode. You know, when Clone Wars went up and down, up and down, and up and down, and that was an unusual down.
Yeah.
But Stephen Stanton, who voices the frog that stars in that one, loves it. But yeah, it's an interesting one. But
yeah,
Gregor's back.
Gregor's back. He's got a new haircut. I'm not sure how we all feel about it because he definitely had like a beard and all that. Yeah, he's fresh. He's got a high and tight. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's got a
thick fade, bro.
Yeah, Kat, I know you mentioned that you felt like this episode was like, you were like, for one thing in our chat, Ryan was like, what happened in the third to last episode? I don't even remember. And so I think we all kind of have a vibe on this episode. But Kat, you said you had some issues with it. So let us know your issues.
It wasn't memorable for me. Like going back to recap everything for this episode, I was like, okay, I guess I'll rewatch it, but I don't even remember what happened. Like, and even rewatching it, I'm like, well, what was the point of most of this? I mean, I guess it was a good way to get Hunter separated from the group, but for the most part, I just sat there like, yeah, I'm gonna keep looking at my phone and all that stuff. So
Rex called. Yeah, Rex called. What did he say? I don't know.
Yeah, some stuff, and then
Yeah.
he left.
Yeah.
I think
was like, bye.
The only moment that really stuck out to me was like the Gonk moment when Gonky did like powered up the ship. I thought that was kind of sweet, but beyond like, I guess at the end of the episode you get the reveal that Crosshair's that he's gonna take him down, that kind of a thing. So it kind of gets you that, but the whole escape thing felt to me like a pretty easy. It seems like anytime it's like, how are we gonna get out of this? Just like this, with a very easy solution. So things kind of worked out almost too easy for that episode. I personally gave that 8 credits and kind of feel like maybe we can kind of. But Jake, do you have any thoughts on that episode in particular, 14?
14. I think there's I agree with you. It's not as memorable as many of the other episodes this arc, but I do think it does have some positives and some things that I think are worthy that they've done in there. Well, first of all, it's called War Mantle, and we've heard that statement before. War Mantle came up in Rogue One when they're searching through the computer and they're downloading all those Project Stardust and all things like that. They hit on War Mantle, so this is something that was also buried. The plans of this were buried on Scarif, so I thought that was a cool callback.
What's
you got
Ryan
the plans
got?
of Scarif right there, Ryan, or what?
I get choked
No, I'm
up
making
whenever
sure the
anyone
logo
says
shows
Stardust.
up.
Sorry. Continue.
Oh,
I'm making sure the logo shows up. I want people to
I
know
need
that
you to
we're white.
hold that there the entire show. Just so you know.
Oh,
Don't move. Don't move.
Because then it just disappears.
thank you, Ryan. Thanks for catching that.
I need you to zip up your hoodie and move to the left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna need to be our logo, Ryan. Wear it.
No, wrong way.
Hang on. I'm sorry.
There you go.
I'm
There you
everything's
go.
mirrored and I don't know what I'm doing.
All right, now
There we
you
go.
stay
Okay.
there, Ryan. You look.
Okay, don't
good.
move.
We don't want to just be HS.
The other
Right.
cool thing about
Who's
this
going?
is
Thank you,
obviously Hunter's archetype is based on Rambo, and we did have him. Oh man, there you go.
It's gonna. Is it
So
like a
now-
punishment that you have to wear it if you're if you say something wrong or something?
I need
It's
to
gone
wear
now.
like a blank hat and just have it like.
Yeah,
In
there
order
you
to
go.
talk, you have to have
Archetype
the
is
white.
Rambo, right?
Yeah, he's totally based off Rambo. He's got the headband, like the
He's
machismo.
Rambo, and then they did the full Rambo scene where he jumps off the cliff. So I got to give props to that because they made good on that, right? The fact that he jumped off. Also, this was the debut of Macquarie concept design stormtroopers,
Okay, word.
which was something that was kind of like, before we got to proper stormtroopers, now we're, in the design phase back in 1970. I think it was 4 that Macquarie designed that look of that certain type of Macquarie stormtrooper. Now we have that as an actual, like, in-universe pre-designed to the stormtrooper, which was very, very cool reveal. And then it made all our Macquarie action figure concept figures now canon,
Nice.
which was very cool. And those figures could potentially go up. Gregor's debut and Clone Commandos, of course. With Gregor, of course, comes a Clone Commandos, and that's the first time we've seen them, and I would like to see more of them. So those are kind of my perks from War Mantle. But like you said, overall, not quite as entertaining, but a lot of Easter eggs in there that were really cool.
Right. That's
Yeah,
great.
it was really cool seeing the Commandos because we did see them briefly in Clone Wars.
Correct.
And they got that their video game was just re-released as well, so their game is back. So I don't know, it was just we all know that they're more of an elite clone trooper, so that definitely makes them a threat to the Bad Batch. So
Right.
Well, it was
More so than
interesting that they brought them
anyone
in to replace the clone troopers, the regular clone captains and stuff. They brought the commandos in to train the new enlisted Macquarie troopers, which was an interesting, spin that they did.
The new
So,
TKs.
Obviously, it's
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
TK versus Clone Trooper. Yeah, go ahead and elaborate if you'd like to on that, which you are already.
TKs are enlisted troops, and that's why the clone troopers were, learning about these for the first time, because clone troopers are CTs, right? And commanders are CCs, and so now you have a TK, and these new TKs, they're not clones, and that's the whole thing that this whole arc, this whole end 3 episodes is all about, the fall of the clones, right? I mean,
the
it is,
actual
it-
fall and
Right? I
submergence
mean, it
into
is-
water. Yeah.
Yep.
This
It's
is
beautiful.
the polar opposite to Ryan's beloved Attack of the Clones, if you think about it.
Yeah,
You
it's like
saw
that's
the
their
clones
big
kind of-
there.
debut, and
It's
now
it's that finishing of that arc, that whole that's
Correct.
They're putting like a hard line on an era,
yeah,
which is something that you don't get a lot in a lot of franchises. Like you always kind of like everything kind of just evolves and slowly we just kind of get to a new point. Where this seemed to put a really hard line of like this is where the clones, this is it, it's done. And
Yeah.
I think that's why the second last episode, it was so chilling to watch, because it was like watching your old hometown get demolished, or like, it
I'm
was
not
like
laughing.
it was really
I'm-
weird, because
I am. But
when we first see it,
Yeah.
see Camino in like episode 2, we see all those same shots that were used in that episode.
And
Except
the
it went
music.
from hustle and bustle of like everything's very active, everything's, there's like it's always busy.
Yes.
Like, like a school or like, anything else, right? And then you get to that second last episode and you see those exact same shots again, but the clone canisters are empty where they have the embryos. Like all of that's empty. The mess hall is empty. The hallways are empty. You see all these same spots, these same things that you saw in episode 2, almost shot for shot. And you know, and that was kind of it. And now
The
it's
end of
just
an
like
era,
the Bad
yeah.
Batch are kind of stuck in there alone in this empty chasm of their
As-
past.
yeah,
And,
like-
you know.
I literally, I think that's such a beautiful way that you sent me a video, Kat. There's like a lot of things in Star Wars visually that there's like mirroring moments.
Yeah.
And that's just, well, for one thing, just that transition of seeing Camino empty out and then kind of have that like follow the house of Usher, kind of like the full everything goes down moment. Like, I mean, that's the finale. But now let's go into episode 15, which is what we're all talking about. Return to Camino, which is like what you were just describing, Ryan. It's a really strong episode. It starts out with talk about like Nala Se's private lab, and it's like we know we're gonna go there and kind of get some really good information. But those shots of Camino, like for anyone who's a prequels fan like we are, like it's a extremely dramatic, and like you're saying, that finality, instead of it just being like, yeah, well, we left that storyline unfinished, it's like, no, we're finishing something. And the visuals were absolutely stunning in these last 2 episodes. Like I was like, I want some prints of this underwater wreckage.
Yeah.
It was, and then it reminded me of like full circle of the first episode, and in the way that like halfway through episode 15, they do like they reunite inside the Bad Batch reunites inside of the battle simulation facility, and like to do essentially to meet up with Crosshair, and it's just like that one moment, which is probably my favorite moment from the whole season. And I think it's episode 1 where they have to execute that mission together, where it's like against real firearms, and it's like, dudes, we're doing it.
Because they're being tested. Like Tarkin's like seeing, is there any worth left in these guys?
Yes.
Do
Oh,
we even
dude.
bother
Right.
keeping them around? Right? Like it's, and they even made it clear. And I mean, and I'm gonna assume everyone watching has watched the Clone Wars as well. You know, and Tarkin also made it very clear in that whole episode with him and Anakin, and you know, Tarkin's the reason why Echo is the way he is as well, because he was just like, let them blow up and die. These guys are disposable. They're useless,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And-
Well, I think
go
the
ahead.
great thing about that scene as well is touching on Echo. Echo's part of Domino Squad, and that was the introduction of Domino Squad, is trying to work together as a team in that training room. And so if you've been following the exploits of Domino Squad all the way through, right, Clone Wars up into Bad Batch, you know, with Echo, there's a lot of history in that little training room, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
Episode was I think I posted about it a few days ago. I never once really cared about Camino. It was a sterile environment. It was where the clones were from. But, you know, the cool stuff happened on other planets for me, right? Throughout the Clone Wars and the movies. But this movie, all of a sudden, it made me care about Camino and like mourn what happens to it. You know, it was Dave Filoni worked some magic there. It was kind of like I've said before, I didn't know I liked Ahsoka until I was crying when she left the Order, right?
Right.
Because she started at such a bratty little snips, you know, she didn't start anything like Omega did. Omega was kind of lovable from the start, kind of Grogu-ish, you know, you kind of latched onto this kid. But Ahsoka, she was like, oh, no, Anakin never had a Padawan, and this is a sucky Padawan, you know? And then eventually I'm bawling the day she leaves the Order, and I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm at my cousin's
Yeah.
house, a few blocks from Emerald City Comic Con. I was waiting. I was watching it in the morning of before I went to the convention, and I'm just like, I can't go like this.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But such a good thing to have a character go through
Right.
like a transition and transformation process like that. It's so good.
Yeah.
I found Ahsoka to be very annoying in the beginning too, and I know Kat's getting upset because she loves Ahsoka. And I know though that you understand.
Oh yeah, we all started the same way, and
Yeah.
like as you grow with these characters, and I think this is the best part of Dave Filoni coming into the Star Wars, you know, puppeteer room. Like he has brought all of this stuff from the prequels and even original trilogy and made it important to us in a different way than if we had just watched the movies and that was it. I really credit with like Clone Wars with like making me love this franchise so much more, and especially Bad Batch just elaborating on it. Like there really is this extensive library of parallels. Like this, now that we're talking about this whole season really is like mirroring itself from an opposite, like inward. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm
it
into
is. Like that was.
I would say they're doing that in a lot of ways too, like that whole mirroring process, but the opposite.
Yeah.
Because like when Crosshair kind of like lets out his feelings, which is something we don't really
let's
see
talk about
with
Crosshair.
someone who's, because we don't see this with villains a lot, especially, well, not really in Star Wars, because usually with Star Wars, like the villains are just like, I believe in this. This is what I, and usually what they believe in is bad as bad guys. Like they're absolutes. But Crosshair was very like, you guys left me behind. I thought we were fighting for the same thing, and you guys hurt me. Like you guys left me behind.
It's like
I was
tragic.
ready to welcome you guys in here with me with open arms and with love, and you guys rejected me. And like, man, like I've never, like, I love the villains in Star Wars. Like some of them are pretty layered. Like you got like your Kylo Rens and your Anakins and stuff like that. But that was like, whew, like that. You really felt for Crosshair.
I love it. Like when he's like, if I wanted you dead, you would be. Craig and I have been doing Crosshair impressions like since watching that. It's just because he just has such a menacing voice, and
He really does.
Yes.
It's a weird accent on top of his accent. It's
He
like
almost
almost
needs
like-
one of the curly mustaches.
yes,
Kinda like
an old timey,
dastardly,
yeah, like Rocky and Bullwinkle time.
yeah.
This will make a fine addition to my collection.
Yeah, like he gets a lot of enjoyment out of all of it, for sure. You can tell. I really thought that stuff was interesting with Crosshair, like the reveal that he's hurt, his emotions are there, and obviously by the end of this episode, we find out that his chip is already taken out, according to him. So it's like, yeah. So you're like, oh, he is just like a nihilist, and he's just an asshole, but also he's brainwashed by this giant group of people that really don't care about him and don't see him for who he is. And it's very much upsetting to see him be identifying with that larger group think and like drinking that Kool-Aid and looking at his band of brothers basically and being like, oh, by the way, I figured out this is like Band of Brothers for like an animated series, which growing up, I always hated watching war movies, but like I like the stories about the people, which is why I feel like this show is like, it's really good character study. I just wanted to throw that out there. Yeah, it's
actually what George Lucas said when he wanted to create Clone Wars. He wanted to create the Band of Brothers of Clone Wars. So that is very much, as this is the sequel show or the child of it, whatever we want to call it. Yeah, that makes that's a great, because that's exactly what George was going for, and obviously Filoni has continued that, throughout this.
God, yeah, 100%. Like only adding to it and making it better. I may have read that at some point. That might not have been my original thought, but that's
Either
very
way,
cool.
brilliant.
Yeah. Well, thank you. But yeah, we also get like a really good moment near the end of episode 15 where Rampart like plucks Nala Se out, and at that point is talking to Tarkin, and you get Tarkin saying, "You may fire when ready," which is great. And so I just liked that, and I was very excited to hear it.
There were a bunch of like little lines throughout this entire season that are from like the original trilogy or prequels, like because also in this episode they said, "Think of what we could do together." Like
yes, that
reusing lines in a different way is really cool too. I want to go through like everything now and try and make like a document of like this parallels this because it's so cool.
Make your big chart in your garage.
Well, it's funny you say that because
Dude.
I did that with characters.
Oh shit!
Please share.
Let's play a game here.
Let's
play
do
a
it.
game here.
Let's do it.
And I'm going to call this Cameo Force 99.
Oh,
Okay?
I like that.
Abby, pick a number between 1 and 16.
11.
11. Perfect. 11.
Stranger Things.
The cameo in that episode, 11, Devil's Deal, is Orn Free Ta, Cham Sedula, Hera, Chopper, Hera's mom, actually the first, but we knew of her,
Okay.
and Gobi Glai, which we've seen in Rebels before as a resistance fighter for Sandula. So, all right.
Okay.
So those are the cameos from episode 11. Kat, 1 to 16, not 11.
8.
8,
Right in the
perfect.
middle.
8 is episode Reunion, and that's when they go to Braca, and who shows up? Cad Bane. Cameo Cad Bane. All right, Ryan, 1 through 16, what do you got?
I'll go even lower. Let's go with 4.
4, perfect. That is called Cornered, and that is when they journey to Pantora, and who shows up? Fennec Shand. Cameo. Every single episode this season has
He knew
multiple
what he was
cameos from Star Wars lore. So I love this show, but I wonder if I was manipulated into loving it as much as I do, because it literally rides on the coattails of Star Wars cameos. Because I mean, every episode has somebody. You bring in Rex, you bring in Cad Bane, you bring in Fennec and Lama Su, and I mean,
Well, you say that it's like cameo, it's cameo central, which you're not wrong. But is it also connective
not wrong.
tissue? Yeah. But it's also connective tissue, right? Like now,
it is.
Now that we see Fennec, like a rookie, well, not quite a rookie Fennec, but a starting out Fennec.
Yeah,
You know,
less
and that-
hardened.
Now we can start connecting the Mandalorian, which again will connect at the very last scene of the very last episode of the season, right? But like, I mean, to bring in Cad Bane and then to bring in Fennec, now we get that merging of two eras,
Yes.
you know, and it's that connective tissue that we kind of need a little bit.
Yes.
But I do get what you're saying with, like, you know, we got our guest star of the week. It's kind of like the Muppet Show
And that's
that
the
way.
thing.
It's just kind of like,
well,
Well, that's what the
What
people
we-
want.
right?
I think. I do.
It is a fan service. It is a fan service mood, 100% move. On Galaxy of Toys, we are commonly referring it to the Star Wars trailer park. You know, you don't want every Star Wars character to know every Star Wars character, right? And that tends to be what happens from time to time. And so you have to walk a balance. I mean, I love the show, and so obviously I don't mind it, but I am very aware that every episode is, now you're going to get this person. Now you're going to have Omega play Dejarik. Now you're going to have them go to this and do that. And so I like it, but Sid and Rampart the only original characters in the whole thing?
Right. Right. Okay, quick. Sorry, I was lingering on your thought. Let's go to Aaron Knowles. I thought we were going to get a hallway scene with Darth Vader taking out Star Wars long necks. This ending was better. All right. I liked it. I agree. That's great. That's
would've
awesome.
been,
Thank you, Aaron.
I do
Visually-
kind of dig that though. The whole like, we don't need politicians. Pow!
Dude, hell yeah. And yeah, I know what you're saying, Jake, about like the formulaic stuff, but it's satisfying. You know, at least you kind of know what's coming. That's consistency. So that's something
Right.
that is you can speak for. All right, yeah. So episode 15 credit ratings. We'll go through them real quick. Kat, how many credits did you give this episode?
You know, I gave this a 7 out of 10 only because I wasn't on the edge of my seat the way I have been with Clone Wars and Rebels season finales. You know, this was a part 1 of 2, so that says something. But just in general, you know, like Rebels really has done it well. The like, I can't wait for the next season type of vibe. With this, I'm still excited for season 2. I very much am, and I'm curious about the connective tissue, you know, to Mando and Book of Fett, like whatever that may be. However, it's just not, it's not hooking me the same way. I'm not like emotionally invested in the same way that I am with Rebels. So yeah, 7. It's not a bad episode. I think it's a great episode. It's just not what I want a finale to be. Yeah.
Respect. Yeah, it didn't grab you. Ryan, how many credits did you give this?
I gave it, I don't know. I give everything. I want to give everything a 10 because I really like Star Wars. So my automatic reaction is like, it's a 10. It's perfect. But here are my nitpicks. You know, so I think if I'll give it nitpicks, maybe I'll give it like an 8.
Yeah,
9,
drop it a
whatever.
little.
But I do like that there's still a lot of unanswered questions and there's still a lot of mysteries. Like, even though we did get a lot of answers, and like I said, we got some definitive endings on things, there's still a lot of like, okay, so they're still cloning something, right? Like, I don't think we're necessarily going to ever get Grogu in this series, and I don't think we should. I think he should be a Mandalorian special, you know, but
Keep him special.
Keep him special. But I still think to me, there still has to be something going on with Cad Bane and Fennec, because they were hired by somebody. People are still going after Omega. Those sisters are going to play a part later on as well. How did Crosshair get off of Kamino? Because everyone seems.
Oh, are you talking about the finale already? I think you just.
Oh, are we? I'm not quite sure where we're at.
It's cool.
And
I guess we can talk about it as a
all over the
whole.
board.
It doesn't matter.
But I'm just saying,
Good
like,
night,
in general,
everybody.
but you know, like, in general, it's just kind of, because it all kind of just, it does all mesh. I don't know. It's hard for me to like rate it as
I see what you're saying.
I
You
got
do.
you.
separate thing.
I get it. You know what? None of that even matters. Thank you, Ryan,
It
for saying
doesn't. Yeah,
that.
in the end, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
but it's just
Well, you're
kind of
talking
like-
about stuff I'm excited to talk about. So that's good.
And we can still, and we will absolutely talk about them. But I'm just saying, if we're gonna like,
Yeah, because
I'm not
what I
getting
like
into it
is
with-
all those questions you just brought up. I just want to like put a pin in them and come back. Circle back, as everyone loves to say.
those are a majority of my questions. And yeah, and again, Crosshair, we do like, did that chip really get removed, or does he just think it did? Right? Like,
That's the thing. If it was removed, when? Because he dodges that question. And if you look closely, he doesn't have a scar where the rest of them do, but he does have all that scarring work back here. And plus, they blown him the F up a couple episodes ago, right? And so, yeah, there are a lot of questions.
Yeah,
there.
plus he shows like remorse and like his own clear path of thought, like, you know, autonomously to do something and to act to save his life in the last episode. Like, there's a moment which I guess we can get to, where he looks kind of like super emo, and Omega and him, it's like, you know, felt emo, might delete later. Basically, Omega's like, oh, we're everything's crashing down inside of Kamino, so we need to get out of here. And it's like, he could stay and die or follow and make his way out. So it's like he kind of has the will to live, it seems. And that I kind of feel like, yeah, I want it to not be in, or I want it to be in there so they can take it out and that he can be part of the team again. But I guess we should jump back maybe to like the beginning of this episode, of episode 16. It's got some cool stuff in it. It's got AZ. The opening of the episode has Rampart looking like super badass, like totally earning his title as the villain of this season, like looking out over all the destruction of Kamino, and kind of the stuff I was talking about with the way the visuals of seeing something both burning and then sinking underwater and the rubble. That was like beautiful metaphor stuff that I was really, really digging. And it opens with
the
stress.
Jaws 3 moment as well. Like, I like they have the little Jaws 3 moment.
Yeah. Well, there's a good amount of, the stakes are a good bit high. Like, things do kind of work out a little bit easy in a few ways. Like, there's the one point where they land on top of a underwater tunnel. It's like, oh, that was convenient. But then it gets more difficult, and it's like, well, there's also an underwater monster, and also we're out of power. And I really thought, again, those were some cool shots. And getting to that final part where Crosshair has a conversation with Omega was like that, which is just kind of digging into what we're already saying, which is, does he or doesn't he have it? Like, and where does he go from here? And I don't know, someone else talk. I feel like I've been going on forever. Kat, tell me, say something.
Kat, go.
Kat, do it now. This is how we do it.
I mean, I feel the exact same way. I felt a lot more emotion with this episode. Like, again, like ties to prequels with the big fish and I don't know.
Yeah.
Like this brought more out of me than the episode prior. The music, everything was very just like tuned up a little bit. It reminded me of the beginning of the season of just like full throttle. I really liked it. I still have a lot of questions, which I think is good. A lot of people online that I was like seeing debate this episode being like, you know, like there weren't any big cliffhangers. And like I was just saying, there really aren't like the same ones as Rebels or something like that. But there's a lot of like open-ended stuff that Ryan was mentioning of like, we don't know what they're trying to clone, or like, you know, we've seen all these clone troopers now see everything be shifted to TK troopers, but they've seen all the behind the scenes stuff. So they have like this extra edge of information going forward. I don't know. Like this then spirals into the like rebellion and all of that. Like I'm rambling.
Well, how many of these
as
clones are
well,
like
but-
super pissed that like Kamino's gone?
Yeah.
Right? Like even the one that was like, go ahead. Yep. Go.
No, I was gonna point out exactly what you were gonna say. Go for it. His voice
clone
was
that went
cracking,
to
right?
go, yeah. He was just like, well, Kamino's gone, sir.
Yeah.
Right? And you could tell, like, the clones
Yeah.
are only programmed to go after Jedi or people who won't kill the Jedi.
Right.
Right? They can now just defect from, like, at any point. And I could see, like, now we might end up having more clones, fight against it. Because
Joining
now
the
it's
other
Yeah,
side.
kind
but
of
are they
like,
going to get in trouble? Are they going to get in trouble for
Oh.
that kind of thing? Or will there be a
Dude.
lot of mass murder, like genocide of the clones? Like that's where my mind goes. I'm like,
What happened to
they
him?
just-
Yeah.
They just did a bunch of genocide to Kamino.
We saw that.
Right? Like
Kaminoans, whatever you want to say.
Kaminoans.
Yeah.
Kaminoans,
Kaminoan.
yeah,
There
right?
you
Like
go. Thank
so
you.
I mean, we all know the Empire is totally cool with like purging.
yeah.
Yeah,
know,
life doesn't matter. It's not unique
Yeah.
and special.
They need resources and
You're
power.
not special.
And if you don't have something to supply that, they'll wipe you out. Once you're
Yeah.
useless, you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
So, I could see like I said, like clones, I could see some of them already just kind of like I'm done. I'm out of here.
Defecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You saw a handful of clones that joined Howitzer. Is that his Ballast's new name?
Yeah.
A couple episodes ago, they're like, hey, this isn't right. They set this up. They murdered him. And you had a couple of the clones raise their hands and say, yeah, no, I don't, and threw down their weapons. And they were all arrested, And so we are starting to see a little bit of that mini rebellion. But yeah, how far that will go. I mean, are they going to be launched into space or executed? That will be hopefully season 2. We'll start to.
Yes. Jacob Balls.
Yes.
Mass murder in Star Wars. I'm in.
And
So-
the one after.
Yeah, and Jake, we know how to say it. It's Kaminoans. Do we all agree?
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's how Jake Stevens said it, of Star Wars fame and knowledge.
No, I just want to show that Jake then apparently needs to reveal that The Force Awakens is his favorite movie, because that movie essentially opens with mass murder of a whole village in
You're
cold
right.
blood. So
Dude, he
now he's a
loves it.
big, yeah, TFA fan. So I'm glad
Loves
he
it.
admitted that.
Free Cameron.
He's here.
He's totally a sequel guy. Like Jacob Walsh is very much a sequel guy.
Oh, yeah.
The Force Awakens is
But the Empire.
He loves The
really
Force
the good guy.
Awakens. And I understand that. It might be my favorite, but probably Last Jedi. Oh, no, excuse me, Return of the Jedi before that. I know, I apologize. I heard it come
Loving
out of
this.
my mouth, and I was like, well, I'm going to be on record saying this now. No, Return of the Jedi is my favorite of all time, hands down. Last Jedi is a different
there we
movie
go.
Here's my
entirely.
notebook. My notebook.
Oh, you've got you know what? All the stuff from it's great. I just don't know if I can get behind all the whole movie. I get mad sometimes. That's
Dude,
not
they
what we're
force
talking
time
about.
and then make out. It's great.
Wait, we'll just make out during the casino?
Hold on, producer Craig here, off camera.
Hello.
Craig's off camera.
Listen,
Hurt.
I'm taking over the show for a second. I'm drunk. No, I'm just kidding. Jake, go ahead and call in. This is gonna get wild in a
Oh,
second.
Jake's
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
call
loving
in?
this.
Hell yeah, let's get this whole thing going. Let's get a
I've been
fight.
hold on. Where's
Gonna
my
be a
goddamn?
rumble tonight.
Abby's gonna fight him.
Listen,
Great.
hi. I'm
Yeah,
here.
I'll do a fight.
I'm in.
Oh, yes.
I want to say something. I'm gonna derail the whole show for a second. Just for a second.
Okay.
I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and I told this to Jacob Walsh the other day. If I have a choice to watch The Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker, I'm watching The Last Jedi. It's a better movie.
Damn.
It is a better movie.
I disagree.
I find Rise
Shirtless
to be more
Kylo Ren.
joyful.
Better movie.
Fuck Joy's.
No.
Joy doesn't matter.
No, dude. What?
The concept, not the person. Joy's great. But,
Everyone had a moment. What
all right, I'll leave. I just wanted to say that. I'm
Thank
leaving.
you for coming in and
Wait, no,
stirring
you
the pot.
can't just say that. Stir the pot. And
Yeah, you have
leave.
to back it up. That's super lame to not.
Listen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but now Jake Stevens is all blocked by the logo. We're having logo issues.
Put the YHS over the top half. I'm sorry, Jake. That's when you have to go. You go in punishment when you. If we disagree with you.
This shit's so funny. All right, I'll leave. I might come back later, but keep
Sorry,
going.
Jake.
Keep going. The discussion is good.
Okay. Thank you, Craig.
Jacob Walsh just told me I'm living clickbait. Okay, bye. Oh, wait. I clicked off the wrong person.
Oh my god, that's such a
Okay,
dick move.
bye.
Oh my god. It's like if you step in, only one can leave.
Well,
What?
this is a good one. The logo pops way harder on my screen than on Ryan's, so
Yeah.
we're good.
Yeah, there you go.
We're good.
Go.
Good call. Good reorganization. What were we talking about before we were talking about Last Jedi versus Rise?
Probably Camino.
Right.
Yeah, thank you. Let's go back to it. Yeah. Camino is crumbling. Camino has fallen. Dude, it reminds me of that Thursday song, Paris in Flames, if anyone's
Yes!
a Thursday fan. I started writing like short, it literally sounds like the lyrics to an emo song. I was like, clean slate. Camino is lost. Skyline has sunken beneath the waves. Friendship tested, side set. And then I said, and yes, Kat, Nala Say finally means something. Which
Yes! I just want to go on record that I said in the very beginning that Nala Say was the key to it all, and by God, she is.
she's important.
Yeah, I can't wait to see actually what happens with her. Like, what if she becomes this, like, really evil thing, or she'll just be like this badass rebel,
Using her power to rescue and help people, or her position. Go, Jake.
Yeah.
Question.
Cool.
School teacher,
We appreciate that. Homeschooler.
right? So,
Shouting. Sorry.
so on Nala Say's behalf, I don't know if you guys saw what was posted today, but her final scene, since we're talking about the final episode, the final scene has become way more significant after today's reveal. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but the concept art for the that Imperial facility that she's delivered to was released with its name. And its name is fairly significant for those who have been EU readers for a long time. And so it was revealed that she was
It's called
being
Dash
delivered.
Rengar.
Stop.
Rengar?
No, it's
Who's
not.
Rengar? Rengar. No,
Good.
John Cena
glad
should
we have
play
a
Dash
teacher on.
Rengar. But anyways, go. Sorry, what's it called?
it is called Mount Tanis, which is on Wayland. And that might ring a kernel of familiarity. That was established in Heir to the Empire as one of Emperor Palpatine's clone storerooms, like where he did his experiments, where those things like in the comics and the TV show, Luke, Luuuuuuuk came from, and Joe Sareth Bosch, I'm butchering that name right now, I can't think of it, but this was a significant location where Palpatine does a lot of cloning experiments. And so that's going to be something that's really important, especially when we see the person that comes out to greet her looks just like, what's his name? Pershing from The Mandalorian.
Glasses,
with the
tight bun.
with the patch, right?
Yeah.
And so
And the tight bun. Sorry, I know.
yeah, right.
They're making Snokes right now, is what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yes.
Right, and they're going to need some Grogu energy here soon. So
Yeah.
that is definitely a very, very cool reveal at the end. So we kind of know where that's going. If they come back to that, or if they don't, I don't care. I think it's cool. But yeah, what is the clone? Now that we've got to the end of the season 1, what is the purpose of the clones going forward? Right? Is it the A-team to do good while being hunted throughout the galaxy, or is it to bring back Crosshair now that they know that he's been wronged, or he feels wronged, and help, bring him back to their
There's
brotherhood?
going to be some definite
or-
guilt with the boys for sure.
Yeah, remorse.
I mean,
yeah.
they've come across Hera, who's going to start a rebellion, unit. They've come across Saw Gerrera, who's come across a rebellion. They've come across Rex, who's going to start his own rebellion. So where are we going in season 2 now that the boys are, I don't know if I care to return back to Ord Mantell, because Sid or Ryan, you pointed out last episode, she'll sell you for $1, right? And
Right.
so
Not to
it's going to
mention
be
from,
interesting.
like a story standpoint, we can't keep going back and doing the same missions from Sid over and over and over again. Like, we have to build out where Omega fits into all of this and like what that component is going to be. I mean, there's so much to elaborate on, but I'm curious on how they're going to do it, because it feels like this whole season kind of drug that question out and it's still not answered. And that's also where, I mean, like the connective tissue to Mando, like it's still the big question in that show as well of like, what are they trying to really, really do? Yeah, we got Snoke. We have all these cloning things, but like, what is the actual desire that the Empire has? Like, are they trying to build an army of these clone
And will they answer that in
weirdos, or what?
Will they answer that in Bad Batch, or is that something they're going to wait and try to answer in
Right.
A live action
Mandalorian?
Mando, yeah.
So we may never
Or-
know in this
Or
series.
Book of Boba.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Book
Omega
of Fett.
appears in Book and Boba. What happens then?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing. You got the Alpha. It's got to meet the Omega at some point, right?
At some point. But I'm
Well-
hoping they do that in the show, though, because I'd like to have it so that it's like Cad Bane versus Alpha,
Two thoughts from producer Craig, real quick.
Oh, hi, Craig. Welcome to the
First-
show.
Jesus.
First
Jesus
of all,
God, is that you?
Scarlett Johansson for Omega. I'm on
Hey,
board.
stop it.
Stop
Okay,
it!
That wasn't,
Stop it! Stop!
That wasn't
you have
worth
to stop.
interrupting.
No.
Scarlett is done with Disney. Bob Chapek screwed
Oh
her.
yeah, I forgot
okay?
about that.
Yeah, just let it go.
Oh, yeah.
But
Let
here's
it
my
go.
other thing.
Don't say
Almost
Brie
ScarJo.
Larson. Don't say Brie
Could-
Yeah, it's going to be Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot's going to play Omega.
Imagine this.
If listen,
Larson.
Hey,
If-
Tamara Morrison is still alive, get him in a wig.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Keep
I mean,
it
Daniel
real.
Logan in a wig.
if what I was gonna really say is if
yeah.
if Boba Fett is Alpha and Omega is obviously Omega, is there a chance that Grogu is in that in that gene pool? Is he Beta?
Okay.
Is Grogu Boba Fett's brother? Is what I'm asking everybody.
No.
I liked watching Jake's reaction to what you just said.
Did I not try? Wait, I literally thought this was a worthy contribution.
Jake's like, put your hand down. I'm
all right, I'll fuck off.
no, address it. I want to know your thoughts.
I'm already sweating in here.
Craig's
It's like,
listening. You
ugh.
just stressed Jake Stevens out.
Yeah.
No, okay, but let's actually have a quality question here.
He's got bird. I like it. I like what Jake's on.
Is Omega force powered? Do we think Omega is force powered?
Oh, do we think Omega's okay? Good thought. Go.
Yeah.
Tell
I
us.
mean, I thought, I feel like there's some sort of like tinge of something in there. Like Broom Boy couldn't have been for nothing. Okay. Like,
Oh,
I mean, there has to be some sort of like, I don't know. I feel like she has an empathy thing for others, and I don't know if it's just because they're her brothers or if she's just that type of.
She is it for
individual.
everyone. I would say
Well,
everyone.
I think she's raised differently, right? Because she's not trained to be a soldier.
Yeah.
She's like a medical attendant.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
admin
Yeah.
or something. Yeah.
I don't know.
There's more empathy there, right? But
Yeah,
she's
but-
more connected to these clones in particular because she's also made special. Like she's made it clear that like
She's
you know,
very
things-
empathetic to creatures and other species that she encounters, like
right.
and interacts with. And at any point,
she can
she's
ride
like,
a Rancor, man. Like
oh, you're
And why
talking
is
about
she-
Ezra? Oh wait, sorry. Omega. Sorry, got it. Omega.
But,
Sorry.
like,
Again,
why
the
is she so
mirroring in
important?
this-
Why is she so important to the Empire? Like, what about her clone little DNA?
Yeah, her
is
mixture.
so
And
important?
that's the thing. That's the thing because Ryan,
mixed
you
with
asked
it?
about
Yeah.
who hired Cad Bane and Fennec Shan. Well, those were the Kaminoans, right? One group hired Cad Bane to hunt her down, and then the other hired Fennec Shan to save her from being hunted down.
Mhm.
And so And so why are they caring so much about this? I mean, she's an unaltered clone. If they cared about unaltered clones, they would have went back and grabbed Boba Fett. So there's obviously something different about the Omega version than there is the Alpha version, which is
Right.
Boba Fett. So she has to, in my opinion, she has to. And there are times when she looks and like you can tell she reads Crosshair's mind. It's like, you're angry inside. I can tell. And it's not because, in my opinion, Screen Crush, I love Ryan Aries' breakdown of episodes, but he mentioned that, you know, we always think of Omega as the sister. He goes, well, now that we know she was there for their birth, maybe she's more like their mother.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think it's even more
Wendy
than
Peter
that,
Pan. Sorry.
right?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's more than that. I think it's more than she was just older than them or there at their
Right.
birth. I think she has some different level that she needs, that, you know, like the blood draws. They
Yeah.
need to examine her DNA like they had to Grogu's, because
Oh,
she's
yeah.
something different. Yeah.
The midichlorians were in that turkey baster. That's all we.
You can't
that's
say
how
that
I'm
word.
thinking.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know you can't say that word.
Oh, the M word?
Right.
Turkey
Oh, so
baster.
M word.
Turkey baster?
Turkey baster? Oh, we can't. You can do whatever you want. No rules.
No
Yeah.
rules.
Oh, it's
So what you're
after
saying is
that.
she's got an M count, and it may not be a very high M count, but she's got an M count
Yeah,
nonetheless.
she's on
Yeah.
the road because
Oh, I
mean,
think so.
They're gonna have to. They eventually make a Snoke who is a Force-powered clone. You know, how did they get there? Well, it started with Omega. It goes to Grogu, then it goes to Snoke, or you know, X, Y, and Z. And speaking of evolutions, we forgot to mention we did see the early versions of Dark Troopers here when they released them in
correct.
that training room. We got the Dark Troopers, which we saw the end result of in Mandalorian, which was another cool cameo connective tissue piece.
Absolutely.
Oh man,
Good call.
so good.
Such a great
Good
part
call.
of Mando, and a very cool part of this show to be able to see them, like the toughest, coolest looking troopers. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. I feel like we should maybe talk a little about what happened underwater, because I think Crosshair had kind of a surprising moment in that, and this is going back to the finale when and this is the moment where I actually shed a tear. I wrote, I haven't cried over a robot like this since Wall-E.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, oh my god, I'm watching that tonight.
Grandfather?
No, not your Papa Wally. Wally the robot.
My grandfather.
Oh my god.
I was. R.I.P. Papa Wally, love you. He was not a robot. Okay. He was
That
a great
you know
person. What we're talking about, though, what I was talking about is, oh yeah, so they have to make it out. The whole thing is like so stressful because they're all underwater because Camino has fallen. It's sunken, and then the water is going to like crush them essentially. So they need to get back up. So they get in those little units that are inside of the inside of Nala Se's lab. And that's when there's a moment where AZ is pushing Omega up to the surface, and basically he dies. His battery dies. They reference that it's dying at that moment, and it's so sad. And he's a really, they make him really lovable in that episode, really funny a couple times before he goes. And you see Crosshair like pulling up to shoot, and it's kind of like that episode before it where you're like, because he shoots a shot in that last episode that kills all of the other dudes, and this time he shoots like a rescue harpoon, I don't know what you call that thing, to save Omega and AZ down in the water and pull them up, which is again surprising. It shows his humanity, and it makes you further question like if he actually has the chip in or not.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty dope ending, honestly. Like, I thought that also the moment when Omega like kind of does it's a Mission Impossible reference almost, when she pushes the button to like explode everything, like having a big explosion like that, you're like, yes, you need that satisfaction at the finale. I thought this was a really sick finale. I was like very, very happy with it. I know, Kat, you were saying and I've seen online people saying, well, we needed way more bigger stuff.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I still loved it.
no, I'm mocking the people who complain, not Kat. Craig's just.
Oh, well, I mean, I
Craig's
complained. It's
drunk.
fair.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Craig's having his drink. What are we? Sorry, Jake. What you were saying? It obviously there's extremely important stuff that's happening that's relating and tying in and weaving into later things that have happened that we have seen or that we may yet see in future shows. So it's integral. It's important.
Well, Dave Finale. Holy
Dave
smokes.
Finale.
Dave Finale.
It's been a long
New
week.
name.
Dave
calling him-
Filoni's
Dave Finale.
finales
Sorry, Craig's drunk.
are
Sorry.
usually really, really good. But I agree with you. This is more of a tempered finale. But he is also the master of the slow burn. He has no problem inserting a character for a throwaway episode, and then it comes back 42 episodes later, and you're like, "Oh, I need that character or that person." Really important. So the things that they're planting here will sprout eventually, because that's how Dave Filoni has worked all his shows, right? And so, when we get to talking about, filler episodes, usually they pay off. Now, when George was involved, there's some Clone Wars episodes that never paid off. And you're like, what am I watching?
Let's do an episode about
right?
just about those in the future.
Right? No.
No.
The dead end. It's called the dead end episodes, right? But Filoni, when the shows he's been mostly running have always kind of come back to fruition at some point. So, and he didn't run Resistance, and I need to remind people of that, because they're like, well, what about Resistance? Again, that show only had really one main character really came in and out of that show as a cameo, and that was Poe Dameron, right? Otherwise, that show was all new. And so right now I'm making my own point of why the connective tissue is important and why the cameos are important, because other than him and Hugs, that's all you really got in that show, and people didn't really bond with it, and so it is important to have.
Well, now you had me thinking
Absolutely.
too, because you were talking about how filler episode characters will come back to play an important role, and there was the guy that took over Sid's bar, and how even
Roland
how
Duane.
Omega was just
They had the
hey,
little
you know
peacock
what,
pet.
dude, it's gonna be okay. Maybe you shouldn't have pulled this stunt, but things are gonna be okay. And things, now that you said that, we're probably going to see him again.
And speaking of
Maybe
which,
not, season 2 or 3. Sorry.
I was gonna say further evidence that Omega is an empath, because she sensed that guy was a good dude somewhere deep down, because he's good with animals. Which
And you know what? Keep going.
No, you're good. I think we have a Tony Taylor comment. Craig's drunk. Hope we don't have another domestic incident live on YouTube. We'll see what happens.
He's not drunk.
The famous incident from our 1-year episode of Toy Anxiety, where I knocked. Well, it was actually the Jar Jars.
You knocked over Egon.
That did it.
You knocked.
I knocked
knocked
Egon
over
the lamp
Egon.
over with a series of Jar Jars that did a domino effect. Be careful out there. And that's all I have to say. I love.
But that's the most Jar Jar thing to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was about
Right.
to say, I was about to speak of Jar Jar and speak his name, because I feel like we're saying, making things important, bringing them back, and I know he was brought back in the Clone Wars. I'm hankering and I'm ready for some more Jar Jar, whether it's live action, etc. Jake, do you have any thoughts on Jar Jar coming back? This is what I care about.
Well, we have to, of course, unfortunately, we have to play with his unfortunate, end result because of that dumb novel by what's his face, where he's ends up a street performer, some stupid street performer.
What?
That's so
have you not
cruel.
read,
The answer is no. I have not read any Star Wars. I've read a few
I do read
Princess
Craig.
Leia
I
comic
forgot
books.
Give me a second.
We're all
Yes.
Craig. Ryan might have.
I'm Craig.
Yeah, I know you are.
Seen his end result as a a washed up street performer is where they put him in the new canon novels.
I am so mad.
Like juggling or like singing a tune?
Right.
Like what are we
Miming, maybe, I don't know.
But the last time we see him, though, is
Tongue
on Naboo.
juggling?
He's at the funeral.
What? If you want to say something, say it in the microphone. I'm getting bossy. I'm sorry. What did you say,
Right?
Craig? I'm
Oh,
sorry,
man,
Jake.
we got
I was really enjoying your candor.
Curtigale.
Yeah, I
Curtigale's in
just
the
got it.
house.
What I was saying was that he will, for $1, guess your midichlorian count.
Oh, that's
On the
pretty
street.
good.
Oh.
That was pretty good.
That's actually kind of cute.
That was worth it. All right.
That was good.
So
That's
no,
good,
Jake,
Craig.
I didn't read that book.
Okay, so it's the ones that tied in. It's
Mm-hmm.
the ones that kind of it hinted at Boba Fett's return. It was a gosh dang it, it starts with an E and I can't think of it right now. But anyway, it was a random series of adventures of people from on Jakku, and then it was talked about a person on Tatooine who found Boba Fett armor, and it laid the seeds for what eventually became Boba Fett and many other things in the sequel trilogy. And that came
But
out
they're
in
already
2015.
retconning some of the new novels, like what's considered the new canon.
geez.
Some of that stuff's
Right.
already been retconned. So I
Well-
say we retcon Street Performer Jar Jar.
Yeah.
We bring him back, and he's teamed up
Do him
with
right.
a certain Jedi who looks a lot like Ahmed Best.
Right?
Oh, that's kind of.
I would love that.
There
We
you go.
really just need to give him like some. If Jar Jar can't come back, I would love for them to give Ahmed like the best character to just play forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want an Ahmed the Best shirt. I love, like,
I want the
legit.
best Ahmed Best.
Yeah. A couple episodes ago, I was talking about that interview I read with him in whichever magazine that was sent by someone. Which, thank you, whoever sent that. He's from like, and well, his parents were like entertainers and such, and he put so much into the character and was so excited to be a part of it, and it's gotta be. I can only imagine
Watching the making of stuff, it breaks my heart.
on so many
Yeah.
levels. To see what he went through physically in the heat, it's just a lot.
Well, just not even just physically, but just I mean, like just how excited and optimistic he was, and same with even Jake Lloyd, just how happy they were to be part of it, and then just to kind of see what the aftermath was with just shithead fans, and it was just like, you're seriously, and like it just makes me feel like I'm on team Best.
Well, that's why this show exists. That's why we're going to continue. And that's why we're going to do an episode covering the behind-the-scenes YouTube documentary about the Phantom Menace. Which,
Yeah, where's
I don't-
Jar Jar?
I'm assuming we've all seen. Yeah, it's
Where's
just
Jar Jar
great.
and where's Patrick? Those are the two questions on everyone's mind.
Let's make some wanted posters. What's going on? Let's put out an alert. I think that's great. I really do. I think that I know we're closing in on like an hour at this point. I hope we covered everything. Are there any final thoughts that we have about the season finale, the entirety of this season 1 of the Bad Batch that y'all would like to throw out? Jake, I'll throw to you if you got anything.
I'm curious on what you guys think is going to be the resolution between Crosshair and Clone Force 99. Yeah, is he going to kill one and then force them to kill him? Is he going to have to die? Is he going to rejoin them? Are we going to, what are our predictions? I don't know how many seasons this is set to go, but we know we're getting season 2. So what do we think Crosshair? Because I mean, that is one of the most interesting arcs of this entire season, is to figure out what happens to that character. I mean, granted, he's been the antagonist for a majority of the season, but still one we kind of we're interested in and care about. So
Absolutely. I think you might have froze just a bit. I hope you're still go. Good.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. That question of which way he's going to go. I feel like my gut is telling me that he'll probably sacrifice himself to save the team in the most like dire moment that's very important and will make us all cry very much. Like, I don't know that
feels
he'll.
Star Warsy.
Yeah, we won't get to
Yep.
see him back with the family again, like having fun in the Marauder. I think it's going to be like, oh, remember when Crosshair saved our asses, and we all cry. I think that's at
Yep.
least my guess. Any other guesses?
Tech kind of put it really well in the tunnel, because he was kind of like, hey, this is just like, we're all built differently, even though we're all the same. So sometimes we get different ideologies. So he's
Oh
kind
yeah,
of like,
that was such a good moment, dude.
right? It's kind of like having a cousin or a brother, someone you love, and you still want to spend time with, even though he votes for the other guy.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
We know
Like-
you don't even have to. We know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
But he's that, right? And I totally think that even we still feel for Crosshair because he's expressed his feelings, and we can relate to that. And I think Abby's probably on the button there, where it's like he's probably going to do something that's going to be in benefit for the team, and we're going to lose him, and we're going to cry, and it's going to be amazing because he is such a like, for a character that wasn't in every episode, he feels pretty deep.
I think he might be the best. I think he's like the front runner of the show. Like his conflict is extremely interesting. The thing that Tex said to him was like really insightful and like sage advice. He was like, understanding you does not mean I agree with you. Which they have like a really good therapy moment together. And yeah, it's literally, it's such a mind blowing, like you want to figure out what's going on inside of his head, what's actually going on inside of his head and what he's going to do. I think it's a really satisfying finale. And I think moving forward, trying to figure out what's going on with Crosshairs, that will pull me in for season 2. Ryan, you got any final thoughts for the end of the season 1 of The Bad Batch?
I don't think I've had anything else left to add that I already did. I think like everyone else, I'm here. I'm going into second season. I just want to know more about Crosshair. I want to know more about Omega, and I want Boba Fett in the mix.
Okay, so that's your cameo request for season 2.
Well,
Fett?
season 2 or season 3. At some point, I do want to see Omega and Boba Fett meet for the first time.
That'd be nice.
Cool.
Dave,
I feel like
Abby
you want
wants
to
Jar Jar. Abby
Yeah,
wants
I
a
do.
Jar Jar cameo.
Thank
Kat,
you.
who's your cameo request for season 2?
Oof.
Yeah.
I
If-
don't know.
If Dave Finale is listening, Kat. Sorry.
I mean, I'm always going to want to see some sort of Kenobi like tie-in no matter what. Like that's my boy.
Craig's like,
yeah.
What?
I kind of forgot that
Yeah.
show's still happening too. Like there's so many options.
Wrapped filming just today.
Dang.
Wrapped filming.
Well,
Oh, man.
So here
I
we
hope-
go.
Trailer for November 12th? Anyone else think we're getting a trailer November 12th for Obi-Wan?
I don't know. I don't want to speculate
November
because then I
10th
get
is
my
my
anything
birthday,
else
so
November
that could be a good
Yeah.
gift.
okay.
That, you deserve it. I think you've earned it.
I do. And
Yeah.
Obi-Wan's my character. I got his
He's
I got
all-
a saber
he's-
tattooed on me.
He's all of our.
I know.
You do?
I know.
I think he's
too,
all of
Jake.
ours. Yeah, it's except for Abby's. Abby's
I
is
really
Jar
kinda
Jar.
like
But I
Jar
think
Jar.
myself, Craig, Kat, and you. I think we're all one for Obi.
Oh yeah.
And this has been I started Alec Guinness Obi too, and then
Mm-hmm.
Ewan just took it to another level. So
Yeah.
yeah.
totally.
For democracy.
Hell yeah. Sorry, to wrap
Yeah.
up with your question, Kat, who do you want to see?
Empire.
Oh, you already said
Oh.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Kenobi.
My bad.
I mean, I don't
Awesome.
know. Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
Well, that would be a good tie-in to
Mm-hmm.
Kenobi if they kind of established, because we're flirting in the same time zone. If they
Right.
put Kenobi in this show, just a couple years later is when Kenobi takes place. So that could be a good, they sometimes sync up pretty well. Remember when Grogu used force healing, and then the next week the Rise of Skywalker came out where they showed force healing, and so sometimes they do piggyback or leapfrog each other, but we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Yep. It's exciting. It's an exciting time. Do we have any predictions on when we're gonna get a Book of Fett trailer? Are we gonna do a trailer watch?
I mean, I think so. I think we're going to do a whole show. If you guys aren't sick of seeing us, we'll be back for Book of Fett for sure. I don't know about the trailer. I'd love to see it as soon as possible, Ryan.
Same
I don't know the release date. And I said earlier, I don't know what happens after November 11th, honestly, because that's the release of Ghostbusters Afterlife. Not to talk about Ghostbusters, but that's... So I don't know. I don't care what happens in my life after November 11th. Awesome. This has been like an awesome, insightful show. Thank you so much for joining us, Jake. Definitely brought a lot. I really appreciate that. I want to
Yeah.
have
Well,
this group back together.
always a pleasure hanging out with you guys, and I appreciate the invite, and hopefully we'll do it again.
Hell yeah. I know we will.
Absolutely.
And
Oh,
Kat,
show.
Ryan, thanks for showing up as always. Y'all are my co-pilots. And thank you everyone, for watching. This has been absolutely like so much fun. I'm so glad we started this year. It's going to keep going. Even past the Bad Batch, we're going to have some themed episodes like I was talking about. The actual like documentary of the making of the Phantom Menace, and just like the Jar Jar conundrum and the Padme paradox. And we have a lot of ideas we're going to bring to the table. And Jake, you'll be back, and we'll be having some more guests on for sure.
Yeah.
Jake, please plug your stuff. I would love it if you could plug some stuff.
Plugging stuff.
plugging stuff.
Well, you can find me at FromForAlarmToZuckus.com. That's where I do Star Wars action figure and everything related type stuff. You can listen to me on Galaxy of Toys podcast. I'm a pretty good regular on the Sandcrawler podcast. anytime Washington State SummerCon has an event, you'll find me there, usually interviewing Star Wars celebrities or hunting for toys. So those are my good haunts right now. Who knows what the future may bring? To kind of teasing around the idea of doing a podcast again, just myself, but we'll see. We'll see what the world.
We'll
brings
listen.
us.
Yeah.
Here's the thing:
subscribe.
as a
Yeah.
as a school teacher in the last year, I'm tired of being at a computer, you know,
Bet.
and so it has made me a little less anxious to want to get in there and, you know, do something that commits me to being on a computer a bunch more. But we'll see. We're supposed to start in a couple weeks back in person, so maybe I'll get that drive again to sit down behind a computer in the evening.
From podcast to Zuckus.
Yeah.
It'll become-
Right?
Yeah, dude. I'll look forward to that. That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Ryan, plug some stuff. Do YHS plugs.
You got it. So, if you want to listen to all of our shows, we are on, like, YHS is weekly across the board. So we've got Bad Bitches today, got Toy Anxiety tomorrow. Sometime during the week, you're going to get Monster Island, which is amazing. You guys got to watch that. We got YHS Prime that also just kind of drops mostly on Wednesdays, sometimes on Thursdays, but just watch for that. If you want to know when that drops, I would suggest going on to Facebook, going on to and looking up YHS, Yes Have Some Group Therapy. It is a private group, but any one of us, we will let you into the group. One big rule: no memes. You can trash spirit packs, you can defend them, but if you make a meme about it, I will take it down. You know, what else do we got? We've got, hang on. And also look for them on Twitter and Instagram as well. So if you're looking for any other kind of updates, and they're also on Patreon at Yes Have Some. So please sign up for that and be free to check out their tiers as well.
Thanks, Ryan. Patreon's great. You should all join. We've got like a Discord chat that we do on the weekends. We watch movies together. It's a really fun hangout. Thank you so much for that, and thank you for patrons and for viewers and everyone that's been a part of the YHS community and part of the YHS family. I'm looking at my family members here. Kat, I don't want to stress you out, but do you have any final thoughts? Final word to send us off?
Thanks so much for including me on this. This was really fun. I loved this show. I can't wait to see what happens going forward. I'm so happy to be able to talk Star Wars with some of my favorite people. So big hearts to everybody, especially the chat. Thanks for always hanging out with us.
Yeah, for sure. We love you.
Yeah, thank
We
you.
love everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
We love you, Dave Filoni. All right, Star Wars. Bye-bye. We're